This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by the Calgary Foundation, proudly supporting community needs for 65 years.
When I'm 65.
Everyone wants to feel a sense of belonging. Now, more than ever, we are united by a desire to take action and help others by creating a community built on kindness and compassion. This is a very good ad for our podcast.
Calgary Foundation is all about kindness. Why? Because did they sponsor this podcast in the beginning?
The first baby steps of The Breakfast Dish?
Yeah, with a little grant. What else about grants from Calgary Foundation?
Well, I'll tell you, from small creative projects to larger citizen-led initiatives, the Calgary Foundation provides grassroots grants to encourage and support people like me and Karen who want to create and strengthen bonds between neighbors and communities. Oh my God, this is us.
If Griffin and I had a stronger bond, he would call me Mom instead of Karen.
Okay, well, you could talk to them about this. So if you've got an idea to improve, enhance, or revitalize your community or neighborhood, visit calgaryfoundation.org to find out more about the Foundation's grant opportunities, and you can visit the Calgary Foundation's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel, and sometimes they share our podcast a little bit.
And you can also improve your community by calling your mommy Mom.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on The Breakfast Dish.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of The Breakfast Dish. This podcast that I, Karen Johnson-Diamond, host with my son, Griffin Cork. How are you today, my son, Griffin?
Hi, I'm gonna be someone else today.
Can you be Denise? Can Trevor and I go to that great restaurant where Denise is the waitress?
I don't know if it's been enough episodes for it to be funny enough as a callback yet, or if it just will feel like we're reusing stuff.
Can we just meet Denise, please?
Denise, I guess Denise didn't really have okay, you know what? Fine. Ask Denise some questions. Little mini Denise interview. Hit me. I didn't change my voice for Denise.
Yes. Denise, hi, table for two at your vegan restaurant that we were at with Bronwyn Steinberg in episode, I don't know. Hi, Denise, can I have a table for two?
Hi, yes. These are all details that I remembered about my restaurant before you said so. Keep going.
Because you only work 2 days a year, and the other one was when I brought my friend Bronwyn in here.
Okay, well, you are getting offensive because I do own the joint.
I'm so
I actually
sorry,
work 24/7.
I forgot. Anyway, my friend Trevor is going to join me for breakfast today. I'm wondering, though, if before that happens, if you wouldn't just remind me what the heck this podcast that I am recording is about.
I first have to ask if your friend Trevor's going to bring a dog, because that was apparently a sticky wicket last time.
Oh, Bronwyn brought her dog. I don't think so. Trevor has cats, I think. No dogs.
All right, well, this diner is called The Breakfast Dish, or podcast. And what we do is we talk to folks and about work and to work, about everything that's happening online or digital or socially distant. There's a frickin' pandemic, and sometimes you can't do the things you want to do in person, so instead you're finding another way to do them, and we want to figure out how the frick you're doing it. That's the money. That's why we're here, and that'll be a 15% gratuity tip.
Oh, for tables of one or more?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a small joint, so I do need to keep it running.
Ding-a-ding-a-ding. Oh, hey, listen. There's the door.
Wow. My door chime sounds a lot like my customers.
Also, I don't think restaurants have door chimes. I think it's just like 7-Eleven that has.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. Mine does. 100%. There's only me. If I'm in the kitchen, I got to know.
Okay. All right. Well, my friend Trevor has just walked in. Trevor, here he comes. Here comes Trevor Rueger, Executive Director at the Alberta Playwrights Network. Trevor, I'm over here. Trevor.
Hi, Karen.
I'm in this back booth.
Yeah, I can see you. There's only 2 tables.
Thank you. Yes, correct.
It's a nice small space that Denise. It's cozy. It's a cozy, intimate little restaurant.
Yeah.
Avenue Calgary called it a closet.
The sign out front says you're open 24 hours. I was here yesterday and you were closed. Is it like 24 hours in a row?
Oh, no, sorry. I passed out in the booth, so my door does lock.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
great.
Denise, it's so hard running your own business and waiting the tables and cooking.
I'm also into backgammon. That's a little fun Denise fact. Anyway, Trevor, what do you have? And then Denise will leave.
I'll just have coffee to start.
Perfect. And you?
Yes, Karen Johnson Diamond. Hi. I look familiarly like your mother.
Wait, Denise's mother? I don't think so.
Oh, no, right. Do you know Griffin, Denise? Because Griffin's mom looks like me.
We can't get into this cross-universe Marvel business. That's just Thanos snap.
I'll have a coffee and a water and an orange juice, please.
Okay, I'm leaving. Bye.
Trevor Rueger, you have been the executive director of the Alberta Playwrights Network for how many years?
Oh, 13, coming up 14, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, which is not a bad run for somebody who was going to be in the job for a year.
You were going to be in it for a year? What?
Yeah, I kind of, when I applied for the job and got the job, I kind of went, oh, this will be a great place to cut my teeth for, maybe 2-3 years, and then I'll move on to somewhere else. I found this way too interesting to leave.
Totally. And look at all the things that have happened. Look at all of the plays that have come out of the Alberta Playwrights Network in the last 13, possibly 14 years.
Yeah, I wish I'd kept count of all of the plays that I have been involved with over the years, but impossible to keep count.
You can look on the internet. Can't you look on the... I never delete my emails. I can go back and tell you the ones I came in and workshopped for you since 2007, probably.
There we go. That'll answer it.
Yeah.
Denise, sorry, you're here standing at the table, politely waiting. Did you have anything to say, or did you bring my coffee?
Yeah, I mean, I have been eavesdropping, and I'm just interested in exactly what APN is, as I don't get out much. I also don't have a security system, so I'm just here. No one really asks about that, but yeah, Trev. Okay, APN, what's up?
Well, the Alberta Playwrights Network is a member-driven organization that was started by an ad hoc group of playwrights in 1985. And the organization is devoted to assisting the development of Alberta playwrights and their plays at any level. Our door is wide open to anybody who has a passing interest in playwriting, is starting out a career in playwriting, has been in the industry for 50 years and wants to turn to playwriting as a new craft. We also support existing, produced, award-winning playwrights, helping them get their work developed, helping them get their work into the hands of producers, and hopefully on stages somewhere.
Here's my favorite APN story. Cut this out if I'm wrong about this. I think I'm correct when I say that Ken Cameron at one point was in your position at the APN. Am I right about that?
You are correct. He was 2 executive directors before me.
Okay, so Griffin, you were at school one day, I don't know, grade 1, kindergarten, grade 1, I don't know. I wrote this great play. I was so excited about it. I even went on a retreat with my sister and I wrote this great play about being a fan of Neil Diamond. And I got 2 pieces of feedback from that. First of all, I had a phone call, sort of one-on-one call with Ken Cameron, who basically said, I guess the question would be for any playwright is, why does the audience need to know this story right now?
Why did you write this?
And then Duval Lang says to me, I guess I have one question. Why? And that was it. However, all this leads to the fact that as I was talking to Ken Cameron on the phone, I forgot to walk over to the school and pick you up.
Oh, my God.
So you were sitting at school in the office for 30 minutes scared because I didn't come over. That's where Neil Diamond fits in my priorities over you.
Do you know how many times you got mad at me for not coming home on time because I was hanging out with my friends?
Yeah.
And I was scared of the office because you were getting playwriting advice?
Yep. Yeah. And basically the playwriting advice from both of them was, never mind.
That can't be your favorite APN memory.
Well, no, it's a very strong APN memory. My favorite APN memory, it's not about me. It's about Trevor. Trevor, guess what my favorite APN memory is?
I can't possibly guess, Karen Johnson Diamond.
Guess which playwright I most enjoy workshopping their plays.
Quite possibly Aaron Lacra?
It could be Aaron Lacra. You are absolutely right. You just ding, 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 ding. Yep. So that's where Sequence started was at the APN. And then I read another one of his recently, and I can't remember the title of it.
Thoughts and Prayers.
Thoughts and Prayers. Oh, my.
Ooh, that's a good play.
Listen, people, look for that one.
What a freaking cool show. Anyway, there's a real reason we're talking to you, Trev. APN sounds great. However, on the show, we like to talk about things that audiences can consume and interact with or experience. And APN has teamed up with ATP. Do you want to talk about that program right now? A little teaser?
Yeah. Alberta Theatre Projects currently is, as part of their new play development series and their ongoing history with new play development, they are operating a Playwrights unit that has been going on for almost a full year now, and we're getting to the end of that process, and the playwrights who were involved in the unit are now presenting their works in progress as part of a series known as the Playwrights Projects.
I am so excited about this because listeners, if there's any chance that you didn't know about ATP's history with new play development, I don't know how many years mandate has been, hey, look, new Canadian plays, come see these things. And amazing things have come out of there, and amazing playwrights have come out of there. And so now there's 6 more.
7.
Is it a wide genre of work?
It is. One of the focuses was to bring playwrights from across the country into the unit this year who wanted to share work, experiences, stories about diversity, stories about inclusion. And so we've got a wide variety of subjects being covered. We've got a wide variety of genres being covered. So it's been really fun. We're currently in week 3 of the presentations of 7. And so far, the 3 plays that we have been working on have been so wildly different in terms of their scope, their subject matter, and the material that they want to attack and the conversations they want to have with an audience.
I missed the first. I bought a ticket for Natalie's last week and enjoyed it. Helen, your old classmate, Griffin, was in Natalie's reading.
Helen's so cool.
It was about a UFO museum in Halifax?
Shag Harbor.
Shag Harbor, that's right. It was about a UFO, small-town UFO museum, which actually exists in the East, and it was delightful. Like, that's when you think of Natalie Meisner's other plays that you may have seen or read, this was so different. I worked on her speed dating for sperm donors, and this couldn't have been more different. She's just lovely.
The town also sounds like an Austin Powers yacht, I have to say.
So here's a question. There's no way to go back and listen to the ones we've missed, is there?
No, unfortunately, due to union restrictions and that, and so on and so forth, we're not able to record them for rebroadcast.
Keep it live. You got to keep it live. You got to stay focused, everybody.
Well, that's how you keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Right? It's an experience, like the theater, it's an experience that happens one night and one night only. And you're communing with an audience and sharing an experience in that moment, which is so awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that last Friday, actually going, Kevin, we have to eat supper early tonight because I need to be on my computer at 7:25 for the 7:30 reading of Natalie's play. And it hadn't felt like that in a long time because there's lots of stuff right now that you can just stream on demand, right? But this is, so this episode is airing on Monday, May the 3rd, which means we'll still have 4 playwrights to experience in the project, yes?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Who do we have left? We will have Mark Crawford's new play, which is called The Gig, which is in a second draft, almost a third draft state at the moment. It's a very, very funny and hard-hitting kind of play that is about a troupe of 3 drag queens who get booked to do a fundraiser. They show up at the venue for the fundraiser to discover that it's a fundraiser for a Conservative Party candidate.
I love that it's called The Gig.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. I'm directing that one and dramaturging that one, and I've already been trying to think about Act 2 starts with a drag show, starts with the actual drag performance, and how on Zoom can we give the audience just a sense that they're now at a drag show. I'm kind of wrestling around and seeing, what can Zoom do? What can we do on Zoom?
I might have a little inside knowledge that Marshall Viel is one of the readers playing probably one of the drag queens in this reading.
That is correct.
And they did drag in the Blue Jeans Theatre production of A Christmas Carol, A Drag Story. And there was no doubt that I was at a drag show when Marshall was performing on Zoom. In that, I guess it wasn't Zoom, it was filmed, but still, if Marshall is doing drag, there's no doubt.
And Marshall's character has perhaps one of my favorite drag names that I've heard in a long time. Triple Xbox.
Whoa! That one, man, when I got my Xbox 360, it was like the best day of my life. So that one really hit home for old Griff. I mean, old Denise. Young Denise. How old is Denise? It doesn't matter.
After Mark is Camille?
I believe After Marks is Camille Pavlenko's show, which folks may be familiar with in a different version. The play's title is Go for Gold, Audrey Pham, which was a one-act version, was performed at Lunchbox a few years back, 2 or 3 years back, and I had the great good fortune of working on that as the director and dramaturg.
It was a workshop of that at Lunchbox, right?
It was a workshop, of a one-act version
right.
of the play, and the play centers around the character of Audrey Pham, who has flown into Calgary to participate in the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics in the very short-lived but real sport of ski ballet.
Wow.
Opting not to stay at the athlete's village, she gets billeted at a junk shop in Kensington owned by a mysterious woman by the name of Birchwoman. And the two of them form a relationship over the period of time between Audrey showing up and her final performance at the Olympics.
Holy crap, it really is a wide range of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Camille has expanded it now into a 2-act version.
Oh, good.
She's added 2 new characters from the first installment of it, and it's really expanded in a beautiful way. And that one's going to be a little bittersweet because the role of Birchwoman at Lunchbox Theatre was originated and read by Sharon Pollock, so that one's gonna have a little bittersweet tinge to it for myself and a lot of folks.
It sure is. And we lost Sharon just last week. Trailblazer, the Alberta playwright. I'm just saying this for listeners that don't know, but this community is in heartbreak right now. And a lot of these people that are being workshopped at ATP probably would have been mentored by, joked with, talked with, inspired by Sharon Pollock at some point during their career.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, she was an absolute titan and was one of the people who invented a Canadian theatre.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That is, I had forgotten that. I saw that workshop and I remember thinking it was just terrific. So I'm so excited to see the 2-act version of it. Mm-hmm. And listeners, I'll put Camille Pavlenko into your heads and I remind you that if you saw Noises Off of Theatre Calgary 2 seasons ago, she was Brooke, the gorgeous, not all the cards are in the deck character. Oh my gosh, comedy genius. She's comedy genius and it shows in her writing.
After Camille is Andrea Scott.
Okay.
And her play is called What's Your Deal? And it's also early in process, but it's a really beautiful investigation about the value of life. It takes place in a small Ontario town, and the main character has lost a child. A child has gone missing and has been missing for the period of a year. And sort of when the play starts, there has been the death of a famous game show host who was from that same small town, and watching the sort of town switch their perspective in terms of essentially covering up the posters of The Lost Child with posters of a fundraiser for this deceased celebrity.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's a really interesting investigation. It's got some really incredibly beautiful writing.
All right, hit me with the last one so I can ask some questions about you.
And the last one is, people again may be familiar with this. It is, the new title is now Aya Chop Suey by Calgary playwright Dale Lee Kwong. Dale, 5 years ago almost, had her very first play produced at Lunchbox Theatre, which was Aya, Sweet and Sour Secrets, where we met the character of Jade Wong. And in the story of that play, Jade Wong is wrestling as to whether or not to come out to her family that she is LGBTQ. Inadvertently, at Chinese New Year's dinner, the tea gets spilled, and she comes out to her family. After Dale wrote that, she was thinking about writing a sequel to that story. And she and I had lots of conversations that she couldn't quite figure out what the sequel would be. But then suddenly one day she sent me an email and she went, I think I've got the story that happens before the Chinese New Year's dinner. And so she wrote a prequel, which got a workshop at Lunchbox Theatre. And now she has taken the prequel, which is called Aya Face the Facts, and Aya Sweet and Sour Secrets, and she is now trying to combine them into one full-length play called Aya Chop Suey.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's really fantastic, and it's really opened up a lot of new avenues and given Dale an opportunity to explore some things that were sort of just touched on or glossed over when constrained by the shorter Lunchbox format. So it's given her an opportunity to kind of expand some of her ideas. And it's really fun. We keep, Dale and I have developed a shorthand about talking about the three of them because we couldn't quite wrestle over Zoom or over telephone about, okay, are we talking about part one? And when I say part one, is that the first one that was produced or is part one the prequel? Okay, when I say this, so we finally started talking about it as, you have knit a pair of socks, and the socks are beautiful. Put the socks in the drawer, and now let's think about a sweater. You're going to use the same yarn, you're going to use the same color pattern, but now we're going to make a sweater. So the sweater is going to be different from the socks, right? So the cast, when we start that workshop, we're going to have to spend 15 minutes just explaining the vocabulary of socks and sweater.
Now, wait a second. Did you have to unravel the socks to use that same wool to make the sweater?
No.
Okay.
No, it's the same colors.
Karen.
It's the same colors.
Okay.
But we're not unraveling the socks. The socks are perfect. Don't mess with the socks. They're effing amazing. Somebody will buy the socks themselves, make a sweater.
I love that you use that analogy because I was desperately trying to find a Star Wars analogy for that. Like it's Aya 6 before Aya 3, which came after Aya 7 or something.
Oddly enough, we didn't talk about Star Wars in terms of the structure of it, but in terms of like which piece fits where, and 4 comes before 7 and 3, but we did talk about part of the way to combine them is stitching together how Act 1, which happens 6 months before Act 2, how do we cover that sort of 6 months? And the analogies that she and I came up with was, okay, at the end of episode 4 in Star Wars, the Death Star has been destroyed, but Darth Vader has spun out into the universe in his TIE fighter, so he's out there somewhere. We need to create your Death Star.
Trevor's 3 inches from his webcam right now.
And what is still spinning out in space. That's going to connect the two acts.
Oh!
He's flying out into the universe. And funny enough, Dale did write a character named Mace Windu. That's a lie. Anyway, Trevor, would you say, because that would be something that I would think I would struggle with, to go from a 1-act format to a 2-act format. Is that a gift or a curse, do you find?
This is, I've never really worked in that. I've had some playwrights through APN come back to me and go, I think I want to expand it, but usually the expansion happens still within the same structure, right? Mm. So they've gone from a 60-minute 1-act to a 90-minute 1-act. This is the first time where both of these playwrights, Camille and Dale, have gone, it's now going to change in structure. It's going to be a 2-act structure. I'm going to add more characters. I'm going to expand the world and what the characters talk about and the ideas they share and the things that they reveal about themselves. So it's been in both cases a little reshifting of how to create a new narrative arc that takes an audience on a big journey and leaves them hanging at the end of Act 1, so they want to come back for Act 2.
Yeah, I mean, shaping the entire structure of the play differently sounds very impressive to me. And let me just clarify this for our listeners. In the company of APN, you're the executive director. But what would you say your title is usually in the room? Dramaturg?
Dramaturg, facilitator, raconteur.
Absolute rebel.
I might need raconteur defined for me, but also there's a lot of people that don't, I know this gets asked you all the time, but there are a lot of people that don't understand what dramaturg is. Would you give us a hand on that?
A dramaturg is essentially, the best way I describe it, and the philosophy that I like to use, is that we are the very first audience. We're a stand-in audience for a playwright.
That's a great way to put it.
Plays are meant to be performed and staged, not meant to be read, off of the page. They're meant to be a collaborative process, actors, directors, and putting bodies in space in 3 dimensions for an audience, all for the benefit of an audience. We're telling our stories to an audience. And so a dramaturg works with a playwright early in the process and sort of all the way through a development process by essentially being their audience at various stages during the creation of their work. I work with playwrights, and usually one of the first questions I ask them is, what's your story about? What's your play about? What's the idea you want to talk about? And all through the process, I keep checking back to the playwright to tell them where they're being really successful and where that idea is jumping off the page, where their play is not being quite as successful in terms of elucidating those ideas and speaking about their story. I talk, specifically about certain elements. I was having a conversation with a playwright yesterday where I said I had some notes and it was all about word choice. Does this word make sense in what you're trying to convey?
Right.
Does this word make sense in what you're trying to convey? And and again, you're essentially a stunt audience for the playwright. This is what I felt. This is what I responded to. This is what I'm getting from your work. Is that what you're shooting for? Great. I wonder if you have places to expand. I wonder if you have places where you might want to contract. Just helping the playwright really hone in on the story they want to tell.
What would you say is your favorite part about dramaturging?
Oh, my favorite part about dramaturging is the same thing about my favorite parts of any theatrical process. I have acted all through my career, and I love acting. I love the accolades. I love hearing an audience breathe, right? I love that. But usually 2 weeks into a run, I start to get bored because I've quit making discoveries, right? It's kind of become locked in a way. And there is usually maybe the odd discovery of, maybe if I change the reading on that line, right, I can change the audience's experience, or I'm getting something different tonight from an actor, which is letting me... But the discoveries are usually very minuscule. I love putting the shovel in the ground, taking out a big scoop of dirt and looking in the hole and going, what's in there? I love the big discoveries.
Yeah.
So as a dramaturg, it's all about the big discoveries. What are we discovering in this moment? As a director, it's all about the big discoveries, right? I love just digging in, finding out what's in there, and working with the playwright on the big ideas, right? And that's really what I love.
Trevor mentioned himself as an actor, so I'll put him in mind to say that he and I have done, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 plays together, all the Farndales at Vertigo, and Bob Shivery at Lunchbox, and Noises Off at Stage West.
Oh, yeah, Bob Shivery.
I'm sure I'm missing some. But all of that acting, plus all of the dramaturging, plus all of the directing, because 6 shows, because you directed me at Vertigo Theatre and When Girls Collide. So can I ask what your I know you said your favorite part of dramaturging is getting into the whole, but if you could only do, this is a terrible question, if you could only do one thing, act, dramaturg, or direct?
No, that's a great question.
Hi, Denise here. I do have a pistol underneath my tray, and I do need to know which of the three.
Which of the three? For me, it would be dramaturgy.
And you're so darn good at it.
Oh, thanks. And dramaturgy, because it's a totally different experience every time, right? I mean, directing is, acting is, the shows are different. But the process of dramaturgy changes with every playwright, and it's developing a relationship and developing a vocabulary. And to watch a writer go from an idea to some sort of completion is incredibly voyeuristically satisfactory to me.
Speaking of voyeuristically, Denise, you've just been standing here the whole time listening in on our conversation.
Yeah, let me just put this Glock away. Trevor, it's me, Denise. Let's really get down to the brass tacks. How do I, a simple small business owner, see the Alberta Playwrights Network and ATP team up of the Playwrights Circle?
Playwrights Project.
Oh my.
Ask that question again, Griffin.
I'm a small business owner. I'm fine to mess up the name.
Thanks, Denise. That's right. You're hearing about it for the first time. Okay. How does Denise listen in?
People can purchase tickets to the remaining Playwrights projects through the Alberta Theatre Projects website.
You can't. The website is albertatheatreprojects.com. However, it used to be atplive.com, which now directs to albertatheatreprojects.com.
Aren't you smart? Those tickets are only $10, and when you go to buy a ticket, you can also have the opportunity to add a donation to your ticket price. And you have the opportunity to buy an Alberta Theatre Projects mask in order to support ATP as well. You don't have to wear the mask when you're listening to the play, though, because you're in the comfort of your own home, and it's a digital medium. But going back to what you said about plays are meant to be staged and shown, I'm always amazed at how entertaining they are with just the stage directions being read and not being able to actually see the visuals of the show.
Yeah, it engages an audience on a slightly different level, but so much of the theater, revolves around us in the audience, suspending our disbelief and using our imaginations, regardless of how detailed the set is or how ornamental the costumes are. In some way, shape, or form, we still have to put on our disbelief suspenders and imagine, right? And imagine that world.
And to be able to listen to, say, the gig at this stage, and then in, say, 2 years' time when maybe ATP might produce it, to be able to go back and go, oh, I saw that at its very beginning stages, and this was different, and that was different. And
that's right. I saw that while wearing my disbelief briefs. Thank you, everybody. That's my time. Bye. This has been Denise. And then I fly away. Just kidding. It's me, Denise. I've flown back because I have to say that The Breakfast Dish is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Cowman. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. Karen, what else is going on this week?
Let me tell you, I'm going to go outside of Alberta for one of the first times. I'm going to take you...
Wow!
I'm going to take you up to the Yukon, to Guandoc Theatre, which is presenting Drury and Izzy by Tara Began, speaking of great Canadian playwrights. It runs Wednesday, May 12th to Saturday, May 29th. And as far as I can tell, this is in person because it's not Alberta and there are not so many problems. So they have all sorts of policies set up for socially distanced viewing, and they're following all the guidelines with how many people can be in the Guild Hall, which is where this play will take place. So you can go to www.yukontickets.com for information about Drury and Izzy. And the other thing I want to tell you about is on my phone. Okay, I can't tell if this is... I think this fits into our mandate of the breakfast dish because writers, we were just talking about writers and how artistic they are. One of my favorite things that I worried wouldn't happen is still happening, which is the CBC Canada Reads book sale. And I'm mentioning it because often there is a theater section at the book sale where you can buy plays, often by Canadian playwrights. So what happens is all of Calgary donates all their books. Calgary Reads then takes all the donations, all the sales from that, and then supports literacy in young kids. This is a gigantic event every single year, and I go to it every single year, and that's why there's no room on the shelf in our library. This is the 18th annual Big Book Sale. There's a bunch of ways you can experience this. The sale itself is May 28th to June 19th. So they've extended it so that they can have the same amount of people come in with less people at the same time. You can also volunteer to set it up, which gives you access to the quiet volunteer. Everybody, you get to have a peek before the rest of the public day. So you can volunteer between May 7th or June 21st, or you can also donate all the books that you have purged from your house during the pandemic. You can donate anytime between May 8th and 16th, and then you can shop May 28th to June 19th. So you would like to go to calgaryreads.com. Maybe there'll be a book about Neil Diamond there, and you'll be able to read about why I have to mention him in every episode.
Excellent jumping off point. Speaking of the purge, Trevor, how we'd like to end the breakfast dish usually is Karen will start a government timer and we'll kill off the rich. We like to introduce a question to our guest that Karen may or may not make up, but she probably will, and it may or may not pertain to the thing we just talked about, but it will be breakfast related. But she's a professional improviser. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Trevor, Denise has written a play about breakfast, and what is the title of that play?
The title about breakfast is You Want Your Eggs How?
Trevor spent so many years with Dirty Laundry as well. He is also an improviser. There's nothing this man doesn't do.
Well, so here's the thing. So I do have the rising action and definitely like the main conflict, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the resolution, on the denouement.
The denouement is the eggs come out. We see a spotlight reduce down to the plate on the table. A disembodied knife come in and cut the yolk. And then the lights come up on Denise, and she steps forward and she says, "Eggs aren't vegan." And it's a slow fade. I don't even think we take a curtain call. Like, we have to leave the audience sitting in that. They have to reconcile that.
I don't want to say anything else because I want the episode to end there.
This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by RUMI. With warmer weather comes yard work. And lots of it, if you're someone else and not me. Prune your trees and shrubs, clean your eaves troughs, replace those drafty windows you noticed over the winter. Or you can call RUMI to take care of all your outdoor and indoor spring home maintenance while you fire up the BBQ and relax.
You have to know that you could say barbecue.
While you fire up the barbecue and relax.
I want to use the first take.
Visit RUMI.ca. That's RUMI.ca. Or call 1-844-777-7864 and let RUMI's trusted local experts take care of your yard. So all you have to do is enjoy it.
RUMI. Are you mine?
1-800-777-7864.
Yeah, sorry. You did the real jingle. I just made up one for the company that we're not being sponsored by. Are You Mine, my new dating app. Thanks, Rumi.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.